Yo, what is going on, guys? We are back for Friday's MLB DFS slate. Gonna be breaking down this slate and just doing like we normally do, talk about the pitchers and the bats. It was a good All-Star break. Really kind of enjoyed the few days away from DFS. When you play DFS pretty much every day for the last 2 to 3 years like I've been doing, when you're constantly putting your money on the line, it is always nice to just get a few days off, just not really have to worry about DFS in general. But I'm ready to get back to it, hopefully be able to make some money on this Friday slate. I am recording this video a little bit earlier than normal. I'm recording at 5 o'clock Eastern Time on Thursday, but we've already got pretty much all the starters announced for tomorrow's slate. Pretty much just everything we need. The run totals for almost all the games are already out as well. So it should be just like a normal video, even though I'm recording it a little bit earlier. Before we do get started, though, looking at the pitchers and bats for today, guys, make sure you drop a like on the video. Would definitely appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, if this is your first time checking out my channel, I really appreciate you clicking on the video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, so that way you will not miss out on any of my new uploads. But yeah, for pitcher today, we've got two options on this 14-game slate that are over 10K. We have Steven Strasburg, who I believe is going to be returning from the DL, gets a matchup with the Braves at home, and then we have Trevor Bauer, who's going to be pitching in Texas. He is 13,600. So those are our two stud options on this slate. And surprisingly, I usually always pay up for studs, but I don't have much interest in either guy today. Bauer's just really expensive. I don't know if I want to pay that price tag for him when there are expensive bats I really like on this slate. We look at the hitting environment for that game in Texas tomorrow. It's going to be 108 degrees. We know Texas ballpark is a good hitter's park. That weather just really scares me. I just don't know how Bauer's going to pitch, and he's very expensive. If he was maybe like 1K, 2K cheaper, possibly I'd consider him. But at 13.6, I think we can shy away from Bauer. I feel like this mid-tier, like the 8K range, is really loaded today. We'll talk about guys like Arrieta, possibly Dylan Bundy, Kyle Gibson, Evaldi, maybe Herman, David Price. Just that 8K range right there is just where I really look to go today. So I'm going to start off with Arrieta. He is my sort of SP1, I guess you could say. I really like Arrieta here. He has a great matchup at home versus the Padres. We want to target the Padres. Their team's terrible. They strike out a lot. We've been targeting the Padres all year. It's worked out. Most of the time it has worked out this year. They're just a team that strikes out way too much versus right-handed pitching. A ton of Ks in their lineup. Suaje they have gotten back, doesn't K much, but you still got strikeouts from Jankowski, even though he's not striking out much this year. Just over his career, he's been a guy that strikes out a lot. Will Myers will definitely K versus righties. Hosmer has been terrible this year, has been striking out a lot. Villanueva will K versus righties. Margot will strike out. Hedges will strike out. The pitcher's in there, which is a pretty easy K as well. Really like Arrieta here. He's not the same guy he used to be, but we're not getting the price that we used to pay for Arrieta. We used to pay like 12K for him. He's only 8,500 today. Very cheap. Really like the matchup, and I just think Arrieta all around a good play in that mid-tier. And then the next guy that I like, I think there are multiple options you could consider. You could go to Eovaldi, you could go to Domingo Herman at 8,100. But I really like David Price here at 8K versus the Detroit Tigers. Another team that I don't really think is that good. A team that does strike out, does have Ks in their lineup. We look at the projected lineup for the Tigers. Their implied run total, just a 3.8 implied run total. A lot of Ks here with Nico Goodrum leading off. Will definitely K. McCann will strike out. Mikey Matsuk will strike out. Vmart, not as good from the right side. He will K a little bit versus lefties. Candelario, not as good from his right side either. He will K versus lefties. Jacoby Jones will strike out. So there's just a lot of upside here for David Price. Last few games, he's been pretty good. Just to end the break, he was solid. 14 DK points against KC. 25 against the Blue Jays. Has been able to get some strikeouts his last two games. Was posting 17 strikeouts those 2 games before the break. I like David Price here. I think he can easily get me 20 to 25, and I think my bats can definitely come through, the expensive bats I like. So that's kind of the reason I'm avoiding Bauer, avoiding Strasburg today, and looking to guys in that mid-range. But if you did want to play Bauer and you needed like a cheaper option, if we want to look for cheap options that we could possibly consider on this slate, Sam Gaviglio is not a pitcher that I think is very good, but he's 6,900 and he's facing the Orioles, who lost their best hitter, Manny Machado. We're going to be targeting the Orioles just with opposing pitchers for the rest of the second half of the season. So Gaviglio at 6,900 could definitely be a play. Derek Rodriguez, not a good pitcher, but gets a matchup against Oakland. in a good pitcher's park at 6,600 could possibly be some value. Danny Duffy, people might look to today, and I think that does make sense. If you wanted to go Bauer and Duffy, that's a similar pairing. Well, it's a little bit more expensive. Bauer Duffy is more expensive than Arrieta Price, but if you did want to go like Bauer Duffy or play Strasburg, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you wanted to play Strasburg Duffy, I guess I could see that. But those two 8K plays that I like, David Price and Arrieta, I just think make a ton of sense. You can mix and match. If you're playing multiple lineups, you could go like Arrieta Bundy. You could go Price Bundy. You could go Price Eovaldi. Just kind of mix and match with the guys you like. But yeah, I think that is it for the pitchers today, the pitchers that I'm on and I'm looking to target. So we'll go ahead and look at my 3 hitters that I like. I love the Indians today. By far my favorite stack. They're expensive, but going a little bit cheaper pitcher allows me to fit in the expensive bats. So at first base, Edwin Encarnacion, 4,600, listed as day today, but should definitely be playing, coming off the break, should have plenty of time to rest up. He's in the projected lineup, projected to bat cleanup, I do believe, for the Indians. Yeah, projected bat cleanup for an Indians team that has a 5.6 implied run total versus Martin Perez. Love the Indians here. Love Encarnacion. He's only 4,600, which is maybe too cheap of a price for a guy that's getting the platoon advantage in a great hitter's park and great hitting weather. Love Lindor. Love Ramirez. Encarnacion. You've got Geyer if you need some value at 3,300. Even like Roberto Perez could be a cheap catching option at 3K. Indians are a great place here. Encarnacion being a guy that I really like from first base from that team. And then my next play is at shortstop at third base. Kyle Seager, dirt cheap value today. I think Kyle Seager, great value if you're going cheap at third base. He's only 3,300. Gets a matchup with James Shields. This is a matchup that Kyle Seager has had a lot of success in the past. If we look at the BVP for this matchup, Kyle Seager has faced James Shields 22 times. He's gone 8 for 22 with 3 home runs. He's batted .364 in those 22 ABs versus James Shields. D. Gordon also done well against James Shields, going 6 for 11. I do like the Mariners as well if you're looking for a stat, especially if you want to play Trevor Bauer today, if you want to pay up for him. The Mariners are very cheap. D. Gordon's only 3,700. Gene Segura, 4,300. Haniger and Cruz are both way underpriced in my opinion at 4,100. Kyle Seager, great value, 3,300. This team's just too cheap. The ballpark isn't great for hitters, but the pitcher isn't great either. I really like Kyle Seager today. I think he's a great value at third base. If you're not like paying up for Ramirez, which I definitely would not mind if you want to get away from Seager and go up to Ramirez, I think that makes sense. But if you're looking for value at third base, Seager should definitely be on your radar. And then my final play is at shortstop. Playing up for Lindor, like Lindor on this slate at 5,700. Lindor, this guy's just a great hitter. Doesn't matter versus lefties, versus righties. The dude mashes. He has a ton of upside. He's got a ton of power. He's got speed. I believe he has like 20 stolen bases this year. I'm not sure if it's that much. Let's see, 13 stolen bases. So not that many as I thought, but the guy still will run if he gets on base. We know the power is there. 25 home runs this year. Martin Perez is not a pitcher I believe in. Is a guy that I do want to pick on, especially in that hitting environment. 108 degrees, hitter's park. Love the Indians here. Love Lindor. Love Ramirez. Love Encarnacion. Definitely top shortstop, top third base, top first base plays in my opinion if you can afford them. But yeah, these are my 5 plays for this 14-game slate back from the All-Star break. These are 5 guys I like for tonight. Jake Arrieta, David Price, Edwin Encarnacion, Kyle Seager, and Francisco Lindor. Now we will go over some stacks and BVP plays on this 14-game slate before we do get out of here. So I mentioned my favorite stack is the Indians by far, but if you do want to get away from the Indians or if you want to pay up for pitcher and you need like a value stack, I think that's where you look to the Mariners today. A 5.1 implied run total versus James Shields. The Indians and the Mariners are by far top stacks for me just on this slate in general. Possibly the Red Sox versus Matt Boyd could maybe be the contrarian option if you're looking to get away from the Indians. I feel like the Indians are probably going to be more popular than the Red Sox, but the Red Sox are definitely there if you want to consider them. I think that really is it for stacks, though, for the teams I love on this slate. So now we'll go ahead and look at BVP plays. There are a ton of them. We do have a couple here at the top that are a part of like an earlier game. So we'll kind of go just like cross those out, try and get rid of them on the screen. So these are all our BVP plays for this 14-game slate. So if you do want to pause the video here, maybe take a screenshot or something, you can go through all these BVP plays, look at them for yourself. But I'm just going to cover the ones with about a 20 at-bat sample since we do have a lot of them. So starting off at the top here, Freddie Freeman has gone 16 for 45 with 4 home runs versus Steven Strasburg. Scooter Gennett, 10 for 25 with a home run versus Jameson Taillon. Billy Hamilton, 8 for 23 with 2 home runs versus Jameson Taillon. Matt Kemp gone 7 for 20 with 2 home runs versus Chase Anderson. Alex Gordon, 13 for 40 with a home run versus Kyle Gibson. Mike Moustakas, 11 for 33 with a home run versus Kyle Gibson. Andrew McCutchen gone 16 for 41 versus Edwin Jackson with 3 home runs. He's really hit him well. Pablo Sandoval, 9 for 21 with the home run versus Edwin Jackson. David Peralta, 8 for 20 with a home run versus Herman Marquez. Nolan Arenado, 9 for 28 with a home run versus Robbie Ray. Charlie Blackmon's 15 for 33 with 4 home runs versus Robbie Ray. He's really hit him well. And then lastly, down here at the bottom, these final two, Mike Trout gone 14 for 41 with 2 home runs versus Dallas Keuchel. And then I mentioned the Seager BVP versus Shields, 8 for 22 with 3 home runs. But then moving down to pitchers, looking at the pitchers that have done well and the pitchers that have struggled in their matchups. Trevor Bauer, he has done well in the past versus the Rangers. The Rangers are only hitting him for a .221 average, only have 17 hits, 7 extra base hits, and 4 home runs through those 77 ABs. And then Tyler Skaggs, he's done well against the Astros in the past. The Astros have only hit Skaggs for a .210 average through 81 ABs, 17 hits, 3 extra base hits, and a home run. And then the pitchers that have done poorly, the ones that have struggled in their matchups in the past. Anibal Sanchez, he has struggled against the Nationals. The Nationals have hit him for a .290 average through 93 ABs. Jameson Taillon really struggled against the Reds. Reds have hit him for a .311 average through 148 ABs. Chase Anderson has struggled against the Dodgers. The Dodgers have hit him for a .290 average through 69 ABs. Kyle Gibson, he's done poorly against the Royals. The Royals have hit him for a .310 average through 210 at-bats. Herman Marquez and Robbie Ray in the same game have both struggled in their matchups. Coors Field should definitely be factored in there, but Herman Marquez, he struggled against the D-backs, allowing them to hit a .333 average against him and 132 ABs. And then Robbie Ray, he's done poorly against the Rockies. The Rockies have hit him for a .346 average through 153 ABs. But yeah, guys, that's it for BVP and PVB on this 14-game slate, guys. That is it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully it did help you. Hopefully you're glad that DFS is back. I know I am. Definitely ready to really dig into this 14-game slate. Hopefully win some money tonight. But yeah, guys, I really appreciate you watching the video. Make sure you drop a like before you get out of here. If you have not subscribed yet, like I mentioned at the beginning, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. If you do have any questions, you can always hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT, or feel free to leave a comment down below. I will get back to you just as soon as I can. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Definitely appreciate it. And good luck tonight on this slate. Peace.